Welcome to the Holly Hughes Podcast. Today, I'm very excited, exceedingly excited, which I realize I say that every time, but really, I've only reached out to people that I want to talk to. That's a really good thing about having your own podcast. You can reach out to your dream people and have conversations. So I have the Samantha Dunn today, and I'm going to hold up all the books. Not by accident, memoir. Faith and Carlos Gomez, which is one of my favorite lines that she quotes about herself in this one. And then I really wanted to be in this when you put this together, which is Women on the Edge. But I'm going to read a little bit about your fancy part is, your fanciness. Ready? Samantha Dunn. Oh, yeah. And Failing Paris, which I don't own. I don't know why. Samantha Dunn is the senior editor of premium content at the Southern California News Group. She produces the company's bi-monthly magazine, Premium, as well as virtual programs, including Bookish with author interviews, which you should go watch because they're amazing. She clearly has written multiple books, Failing Paris, Not by Accident, Reconstructing a Careless Life, and Faith and Carlos Gomez. She also teaches, and we can go on and on. I mean, I actually printed notes and it's half a page of her credits, but let's just say she's a badass. She's super creative and I can't wait to talk to her. So, hi, Sam. Good morning. Welcome, California to North Carolina. How are you today?
Oh, Holly, I am so happy to see your beautiful face, and I'm so thrilled that you invited me on. Oh, it's just a kick to see you.
I know. We have a lot. I have so much. I want to say, first of all, I have many memories of you, and you write memoir and essay, which is my favorite stuff to write, actually. So you also had a quote, but I don't know if you quoted someone else. And I literally had this up on the wall behind my computer for many, maybe 8 years before I moved. And it was, writing is an act of attrition, do not attrice. Do you even remember saying that?
I don't, but that sounds like a Sam original. It doesn't sound polished enough for a Vivian Gornick quote or something else that I usually
I was
pull.
like, did I even say those words right? But I kept that forever because writing can be so exhausting, especially when you're mining your life. So is that something that is good to hear again and remind yourself, or do you say these amazing things and then forget them because they just happen so easily for you?
I love hearing that. I love that spoke to you. And it's a good reminder for me because it's about just keeping on. It's not about success, having other people tell you you're successful. It's just about keeping on in the process. So thank you for that reminder.
Of course. I was very happy when I got to ask you for more things of yours to read. There's something in your writing. I get emotional. I'm gonna get emotional.
Oh, babe.
Seriously, and it's because you write this is gonna sound weird, but you write like a writer. And I started this podcast to have conversations because I could talk for hours with my critique partner. We can rip things apart and rebuild them and wonder why that's popular or not popular, or criticize our own work endlessly, obviously. And we each have a different goal and a definition of success. But for me, there is skill in writing, right? And for me, when I read your work, you balance the emotional with structure in a way that I like the structure.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Is that easy for you? Because in memoir, I don't for any listeners, I don't know if you write it, there's plenty of rules and plenty of no rules, right? That's the fun part of memoir. But when you don't give I don't know how to explain it, facts along with the emotion,
right?
It
Context.
either is a dump, emotional dump, or too much structure and I don't care. So how is your process in being creative? How do you manage that?
I think you just asked me, is writing easy for me? And of course, writing is so fucking easy for me, Holly, as it is for everyone. It's isn't that the point? It's just so wonderfully easy. No, it's like pulling your own teeth with a plier all the time. What first of all, thank you for those compliments. I really appreciate that. My school of writing continues to be journalism, right? So it's different than coming from the very precious environment of academia, perhaps, where you're looking, I don't know, uniquely at the ideas, or what, I don't even know how to say that correctly. What I'm trying to get at is, in journalism, there's always a sense of audience. So I have been trained from the minute of my first anything that someone is going to read this. It's not just for me. We can go back and talk about how I had to develop that sense.
No,
there's always...
I want you to say that again, because I think that is something I needed to hear today.
I don't even know what I just said.
You just said that, like, I always knew that my writing was for someone else.
Yes. I mean, my idea was always to communicate something to somebody, whether it was just an SOS that someone would read about my life, or communicate something, or persuade, or seduce, or convince. There was always that sense in me that it was communicating to somebody else. And so if there's structure inherent in what I write, it's always based in that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's almost, your structure is like a hug.
Aww.
Yeah, I know. I'm really not this nice all the time, by the way, but it is. But here's the thing, because I went to school to be a journalist. I went to school to study journalism. I
did not know that about you.
Yeah, I know.
Did I know
I
that
did.
about
I wanted to be a journalist, and my teachers did not like me. They didn't like me. I had interviewed another author and an editor, Betsy Thorpe. She'll be in the series, but she has these distinct memories of people telling her that they liked her work. I have no memory of that. So I went to college in DC, and I wanted to be a journalism, but I also loved Andy Rooney. I loved how he told story, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, why can't I do that? And they're like, you're in a political environment.
Yeah.
And this is what you have to write. And
you're a girl.
And they were like, and maybe you should just get into lit. And the way my teacher would say it ignited a big fuck you in me, which often leads me to start things. So I think, like, for me, what I have problems with, let's just call it social media news at the point, is like, I remember having to interview 3 people on this side of an argument, and 3 people on that side, be able to source it, research what they were saying, and then present information, right? So
the good old days, yes. Like, believe it or not, that kind of journalism does still exist. It just gets reduced to the 6-second. Yeah, well, the 6-second meme, like, I think we're just all writing for memes now. It's just drives me insane. Anyway,
I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree. But I think that's part of, like, rereading your work, is that, like, it's home to me, there's structure, and yet, you do what a memoirist does, or an essayist, right? Is that you share these incredibly personal truths within that. I don't know. It's like a magic art form. Like, I've been looking for literary magazines lately, and they're getting smaller and smaller, or places that will accept even essays, like where I used to sell all the time, right? Yeah. I had one editor, she's like, I love your voice, but she got moved around so much, I think she just quit too. So it's kind of fascinating to be able to tell story in a world where everyone has the tiniest like attention span right now.
It's interesting though, because I feel that more and more the personal narrative is at the forefront of what people consume. And that can be very good, because we attach to people's stories, we don't attach to people's information. So that's important, but so many people are just strip mining their life for their reels, for their TikTok audience. Megan Dahm, I don't know whether she's been on your show yet, but I'm sure you're going to invite her. She has a book out now called The Catastrophe Hour, where she very beautifully explores this question of, has the personal become too personal? And are we at the end of our interest in personal narrative. I don't think we are, but the way she explores the question is very interesting. Just because it's so ubiquitous
I
across
love that.
social
I also
media.
think there's performative and the not performative.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. I'm going to be talking to some content creators because they really see the world, interestingly, where I see the world. Like, I stare at clouds all the time. Like, you would think I'm high. By the way, I don't do any drugs because I can see dead people. So I don't need anything to like
I
help
was
me
going
with
to
that.
say you were just naturally on psilocybin. Your brain is just
I
naturally
totally.
wired in a certain way.
I had a client offer me that. I was like, yeah, no, I don't
I
think
don't
I'll be
know. I don't
taking
need
that.
it. I
I'm
don't need.
good.
Would you like
I'm
some of
so
my
good.
brain juice? Because that
People ask me to like, have you ever gone on ashwagandha? Whatever. No, not that's
that
what I take it.
uh,
Ayahuasca.
ayahuasca.
No, why would I do that? Do you
Why
know
would
what
I
I
ever
see
do that?
without it? No.
I
Do you know
don't
how to
even
hold a
see
boundary
anything, and
with
I would
it?
never ever do that. I don't even know why people are paying big bucks to go shit themselves in a hut in
And
Peru
puke.
and
Yeah.
puke.
I
It's like, yeah, whatever
no.
floats your boat, people. Whatever you need to do to feel
I'm like, I'm
human.
happy to help you explore your truth. And if you have to get high to find that truth, I find that fascinating too. But I have issues with people with addiction. I have daddy issues. So, but that'll be my memoir eventually.
Yes, please.
So I want to know. Okay, so I have too many questions. I have no order because my order jumps. So
Whatever.
you are creative. You write about your young life often, right? And growing
Mm,
up where you did and how you
mm,
did. Did
mm.
you always know you were going to be a writer? Like, is it like I'm going to be a
Oh,
creative person? Like,
no. Oh, sorry.
no, you're good.
Sorry. I'm just when did the question, did you say you were going to be a creative person? Honey, where I am from, that is a luxury that's not afforded to people. That's being a creative person is for trust fund babies in New York City and boys in prep schools and in Connecticut. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's
yes.
that's those people get to be creative. We have to make a living where I'm from. And so the idea of being creative, to say that you're going to be a creative and make a living, and it would be, how dare you? Who do you think you are?
Oh, I know
Who
that
do
sentence.
who do
I
you
know
think
that
you are
sentence.
that you could ever do that? I mean, look at the trailer you live in. Look at the highway that goes to nowhere. Look at these things and tell me you're going to be creative. How are you going to put a roof over your head? How are you going to put food in your belly? And so the way that I knew that I could write, I I only ever wanted to do two things. I wanted to be a veterinarian at one point when I was like 6, of course. But that was too much math, I quickly assessed. And also too, I wasn't I wasn't
I
I
only
wasn't
do
good at,
math in the morning. I do my
yeah,
banking, I do my
just
bills in the
yeah,
morning because after 11 o'clock
too
it ain't
much
happening.
math. It's
Yeah,
just
too
too
much.
much math. And I couldn't handle the dying animals. I
Mm.
couldn't do that. At least not at 6. Anyway, so writer, I knew that I wanted to write, and the only way that anyone was ever a writer in places where I'm from is that you work at the local newspaper, and that was my goal, and that's what I achieved because that was what was available to me. I secretly maybe dreamed that I could do something else, but I didn't actually hope that much or actualize that dream until I got to Los Angeles, until I was in my 20s, really.
Okay, two
Well, did I
things.
confuse you? Okay.
No, I'm
Uh,
here with you. I'm fully here with you. I I want to know how you got to LA. I want you to share that story. But the other question I have is, do you think if you and I were not in our awesome 50s like we are now, if we were young now and there are so many avenues to be creative, would
yeah.
we have thought like I wonder sometimes if I had this many options, which is kind of like going to Costco without a list, which overwhelms me and doesn't work for me at all. Like I have a list, I go in wine, salmon, lamb chops. Like I pretty much get the same things every time, toilet paper.
Right.
But if I go in without something, I'm like, I'm overstimulated.
The
Like if you were young
possibilities.
now and you could do 1,000 things, like, button poetry or spoken word, or like if you could like become a performance artist who did dressage and recited a fucking essay. I could totally see you doing that. Like you have to do that.
I could actually see myself do that. Thank you for that imagery. No, let's be real. The finances would still be the question. It would not only be about possibility, which I think is great, which I think is amazing, everything you've just laid out. You don't have to go to New York or Los Angeles anymore to make something happen in your life. You can do it from anywhere, which is fabulous and exciting. But there's still the question of how are you going to feed yourself and put a roof over your head? And that to me, finances and social class were the defining aspects of my
I think those are two
life.
questions that are missing from a lot of people nowadays.
Interesting.
Like
food and shelter?
There's no meaning, like, who's going to help me? How do I get it myself? I don't know that people are thinking, how do I do this myself?
That is so interesting. I've never even considered that, because that is just the only thing I ever think about. Like, how do I...
That's like how you were brought up, right? Like I had my father is like first or second generation American, right? Grew up really poor, grew up really hungry and abused, right? Like, so for me growing up, it was like, you do better. Right. You get an education and you do better. I thought my dad is a chemical engineer. I thought I was going to be that.
You thought you were going to? Wow.
I know. Wait, I'm really good at science. It's strange. I am. I'm really, because it's tactile.
That's so
I also
interesting.
just learned I'm dyslexic. This is like my favorite story. But regardless, like I took an exam when I left entertainment. I was like, well, if I'm going to leave film and TV, and this is what I've been for 18 years, like, what am I? Like, what do I do? I'm not a good enough writer to do anything with.
Yeah, what are my aptitudes? Yeah.
I would have really been good at forestry, was like my top score. And I was like, you know what? I would, because I love being outside. But I'm also a city girl. Like, I'm just... contradictions over and over and over again. I was like, she's like, you have a very scientific mind. And I was like, I grew up with an engineer.
Yeah.
Like, how do you fix it? Also, if you're a survivor, how do you fix it?
Well, there's that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so how did you end up in LA?
There's always a man. It's always related to a man, right? Or at least for me, it's like... So, do you want the full story or the abbreviated story?
You can give me the abbreviated one, because I have like a page and a half of stuff I want to pull
out. All
right.
So, I had a boyfriend, future ex-husband, who said, "Hey, babe, I got a gig with Chick Corea in LA. Do you want to go for a couple months?" I was like, not doing anything else. Sure, I'll go for a couple months. That was 1989. Do you think I've left Los Angeles since 1989? I mean, I've traveled. That's what happened. Dum da dum. And complications ensued. And there we go. That's the story.
I like that. I want you to do my favorite quote from your book about Make Me a Sandwich from Faith and Carlos Gomez.
You can read it.
Because I have this memory. So for people in the podcast who maybe are just listening to this one, so I worked in film and TV for 18 years, moved across the country to North Carolina, and decided that I'm going to finally give my voice a chance and own my own creativity, which was big and scary and strange. I'd done enough therapy, blah, blah, blah. And I took a bunch of classes at UCLA, Writers Extensions, because I wanted to write and I knew I had lost it. Right. And I had no self-confidence. I had a really verbally and horrible, abusive first marriage. Right. So it's just what I knew coming from an alcoholic father. So there I was trying to like unpack it all. And I had this desire to be a writer. Always was a storyteller. And I took Rob Roberge was the first class I took.
Oh, Rob, what a kick.
Dude, he clicked his pen. the whole class. I was like, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I'm going to lose my mind. And I was like the worst one in the
Was
room.
was he on his meds at that time, or do we know?
I don't
Rob
think he
is,
was.
by the way, everyone in TV land out there, Rob Roberge is an incredible writer. If you get a chance, read his memoir, Liar.
Yes.
It's written in second person. It's so compelling. He's just an incredible
Which
talent.
is also compelling because I've been to his house and met them, and like, knowing
His
that you
wife,
stood
Gina
in it.
Francello. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So anyway, he used to click his pen, and I was like,
I can't do this.
please, I can't, because also I had worked 12, 13 hours, right? And kind of snuck off to like, and he'd be like this. I'm like, oh, and I knew I was the worst one in the room. Like, it was like so blatantly, I couldn't write like the stone fell up. It was just awful. Anyway, I just kept going because I was like, well, I can get better. I guess my thing about myself
Yeah.
is I'll just get better. I eventually end up in one of your rooms, and
Yes.
there's two favorite things about it. First of all, I don't know if this is Rachel Resnick like told me about you, or you told me about Rachel. I can't remember.
Either one is possible.
Either way, it could have happened either way. But you were very into salsa dancing, and I am a dancer, right? I still dance all the time.
Yes,
So
I see your clips on Instagram. I love them.
I tear myself apart when I watch them. So I am like, oh my God. So there you are talking about salsa. I'm like, yes, queen, do it, right? You're there and you're into it. And you're like so much smarter than me is what I keep thinking, right? I was like, oh, look at you go. And then there was like a room, and then you were talking about like making scenes better, and you do his accent, right? You did his accent. Like, you have to say the line.
I can't do that. It's politically incorrect. I
know.
I can't
You don't have to
do
say
I
the
can't do
accent,
that
but you
anyway.
could say the line.
He said, I don't even remember. It's been
It's
27
basically
years.
after you make mad passionate
After we
love.
make mad, passionate, whatever. Imagine those days. He said, he looks at me and I think he's going to tell me he loves me. He says, you know what I want to do? I want to fuck you, and then I want you to make me a sandwich.
See, it's
True
still
story.
so excellent.
He actually said that. I can't not.
I
He
like
actually
that.
said that.
I
It
had
was
someone
so,
break
it was
up with
so,
me like that.
really?
Yeah, picked him up from the airport after he went to a wedding, came home. He me naked in his bed. He's like, we're done.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a bad breakup. Anyway, I love this line. Right, like that is my line. And then you had us do like an exercise where everyone in the room, who by the way, again, had been writing much longer than me. I was still very much a novice at learning how to write again. And you asked everyone to write a word down. I forget,
Mm-hmm.
write a word, some random word,
Mm-hmm.
and then pass it to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And this bitch next to me wrote a word. I don't even know what the
You
word
didn't
was.
know.
I didn't know what the word was. I was like, you're such a condescending little bitch. Like, she did it on purpose. It was
Of
like,
course she
I'm
did.
so smart.
I am
And
the smart one. Yeah.
and I remember just owning, I'm like, I don't even know what this means, so I can't write with it. And I was like sweating profusely, but I was like, I'm just gonna own it. Like, what is that? In
Okay,
a creative space. Like,
let me just say that about you. I love you are always so transparent and so willing. I love that about you. That is like one of your superpowers, Holly. It really is.
oh, you make me cry. Thank
No,
you.
it's really true. I've always remembered that about you.
That was one of my questions. What do you remember about me? The other memory that I have of you that I really like, I think was at Rachel's book signing. Were we both pregnant at the same time?
It could be our kid. How old is your daughter? 16?
17.
Oh, so
Starting her
no, we
senior
weren't
year.
at the same time because
So you
Ben is
were
only
big and
16.
round, and I had just given birth.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And you were like, surprise, I thought it was menopause. Like, you said that to me in line too.
I did. I went in to have a true story. I went in to have a hysterectomy and found out I was pregnant at 42. Yeah, go figure. Anyway.
Yeah. See?
Sorry.
Okay, wait, I'm going to go jump. So anyway, you're in a class and you teach and you're doing these things and you have your books. What do you do to manage the one person? Because there's always one. I have done a lot of workshops myself. There's always one. How do you manage the one?
That is a good question. I don't know that I have a conscious strategy. because that one person always has different types of needs. Sometimes it's the look at me person. Sometimes it's the I'm depressive and suicidal and I'm manipulating people with my depression person.
Oh my God, I love
Some
it. You named that. That was good. That was good.
Sometimes it feels that way. It's like I'm the mentally unstable one, and they may indeed be. And I'm going to manipulate everyone's response around me because I need something. A lot of times I just come in like a bulldozer, as you know, Holly. I just come in
Are
as a
you a bulldozer?
bulldozer.
No.
Well, with a big personality, right? So that helps manage the room. There's not a lot of room for anyone else to seize that control. And I do that not because I'm an egomaniac, although in fact I may be an egomaniac, but you want to give everybody, you want to protect that space. I go in feeling that I'm protecting space for people. Does that make sense?
Totally.
I'm literally holding that space for people.
And that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of psychic work. You know, there's somebody told me once, and I'm just going to screw this whole thing up because I know nothing.
I'll quote you later, don't worry.
Okay, quote me later. Yeah, write it down and fucking quote me later, years later. But someone told me,
bitch. Don't
trice. Somebody told me that some in Asian medicine, like in acupuncture or something, there's a belief that teachers die sooner than other people because they use their life force energy to hold space for people. Anyway, I'm screwing that whole thing up.
No, now I'm going to look it up because, I'm obsessed with Asian culture. So Sonsenim is how you say teacher in Korean.
Oh, interesting. Well, I think there's a
few words I can still say. I'm so bad.
I can't say anything. I can say ni hao. That's the only thing. It's Chinese hello, right?
Yeah. Guga, I think his brother. I only watch Asian shows. It's very. I like their storytelling, and I like that it is not my reality, and there is always something that I can learn because I'm so ignorant about Asia. As an American, it's not anything we learn about in school or whatever.
Oh, it isn't. Yeah.
So for me,
history, literature, we know nothing.
I know. So I have all the, I could also turn besides the stack of memoirs that I pulled out, knowing that I was going to talk to you, and how they pull at my heartstrings and why I love them and why I'm avoiding writing mine right now. Part of one is that I have all these books that are translated as well.
Oh, that's so good.
Storytelling is just so different. I think I like being around people who are smarter than me.
Me too.
Must be hard for you though.
Oh, what are you on about? You're just
seriously, because you're really well read and you're in a place where you have access to a lot of things.
That's true. My job does give me a lot of access, but yours does too. Look at you. I mean,
oh yeah, I'm a so if they say no, I think as a writer, I got so used to being told no, right? When I first started, especially trying to get an agent, that I don't care if you say no.
Yeah. I love that about you. Yeah.
Next.
Fearless.
I have a question though. Okay, so I know someone who's a good writer, but they keep selling the same story for years now.
A lot of people do.
Why does it keep selling?
It's commerce, because people like what's comfortable. People like what's known. People like the reassurance of hearing what they already know. Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. Listen, there are lots, especially genre writers, not exclusively, because there are lots of literary writers, I would argue, that do the same trick over and over again as well. But there are lots of genre writers who are essentially writing the same book, and God bless them.
I know an essayist who sold the same essay to the same editor. They just with a little tweak, over and over again.
But it's also true that we all, as artistic inclined beings, have a certain terrain that we're always exploring, right? Mm-hmm. I will never not explore being poor in the Southwest. That's my creative font, if you will, right? That's
Ooh.
that's the
I got a new
place.
quote. I got a new quote.
Don't cease and desist, girl. Cease and desist. Anyway,
No.
but you know what I mean? There's alcoholism and
Mm-hmm.
being a stranger in a strange land. Those are themes that will always, no matter what I do, come up because that's just part of the broken places in me,
I
and
don't think
that's
they're
what we're
broken
always.
anymore. I don't think they're broken
I don't
anymore.
know. Yeah, they're not like they were for sure because
What is
writing
that?
does.
Kintsugi? Is that? Well, I'll have to double check if I'm saying that right. Kintsugi.
I don't know.
It's the Japanese art of taking broken pottery and adding gold and putting it back together.
That is so. I'm gonna Kintsugi. Is that what it's called? Because I always say it's interesting that you have that image because I always say that memoir is the collage art of literature, right? We are taking these found objects and we are arranging them and creating a narrative out of these concrete objects.
I love that. So when you're going through your life and cataloging it or running into people or having these moments, right, that then you end up collaging together or making this beautiful pottery. Because I can tell you what I see when I look at you energetically. It's just, I will cry. So we'll have to wait for the end. But
Oh, now there's a cliffhanger. I want to know. I want to know. Anyway, go ahead, please.
yeah, you are
So
fire, right? You're Leo anyway. So you're
I am.
fire
I
and
am.
gold and music and a little rain. And you smell
Oh.
like the dust after you ride.
Oh.
But like in a field. Do you know the difference? Like I am
I
a
do.
okay, because I'm a great trail rider, which is another strange thing of mine. Like I feel so good on a horse, like on a trail. I'm not a good enough rider to think I can do anything else. But when I spent a week in Wyoming, see, I'll cry. When I got off the plane, because you end up in a small plane to get to like we were at a ranch. I stepped off the plane and I was facing the my God, I'm forgetting the name. Those mountains, the
The Teton,
Tetons.
the Grand Tetons.
I was
Hmm.
facing the Grand Tetons and I heard angels singing and I just started bawling. And my man Candy husband is so used to me being a woo woo that
Yourself.
he's like, "What do you hear? What's going on? Are you
Oh.
okay?" I was like, "I hear angels." Like literally, I heard
Oh.
I can't sing, and I definitely can't sing like an angel, but it's like it's like amazing.
Yeah.
And all I felt was this overwhelming connection to land, like really
Mm.
grounded. And and then we ended up at this ranch, and every family gets like this little cabin. My daughter was much younger, so I was trying to family vacation because no one can sit still in my family. So the first day on the horse, they're like, "Hey, we're going to go up here to see if you could actually do what you said you do." And I said, "I didn't say I could do anything, right? I just know not to be an asshole around a horse. Don't scare it." I had a horse who liked to puff up before the saddle was put on, so
That
that bitch
girth.
would make me slide all the time.
Yeah, the girth.
But
Hmm.
by the end of the week, we were off trail. By the end of the week, we were riding up a mountain. By the end of the week, I fucking galloped, and there's no bra tight enough for me to be comfortable with that. Through along a stream, and I was just all I could imagine was, oh my god, what past life was I a Native American Indian? Like what? When did I hunt this land? And then I had like images of very Mongolian, like being
Interesting.
much like smaller and hunting in plains that went like forever. And like,
Interesting.
so I'm like in this place of loving all of that. And everyone's like, "Aren't you saddle sore?" I'm like, "It doesn't really bother me. Why are you talking about it so much? Like, when can I do this? Never." Right? This is a treat for me. This is like a magical, literally moment for me. And so in my journal while I'm there, I'm writing down everything, right? Every sense memory, everything that means something to me. Because my biggest fear is I'll have Alzheimer's and I'll forget it all.
Mm.
But then I
Interesting.
have it also to pull from, right?
Mm.
Because like what is it anyway? That is what you kind of are. But you're also this like glorious crown. Like it's just, I don't know, it's just your magic.
I love you, Holly. You're magic too. Takes magic to
I
know
don't
magic. I'm
man.
honored. I'm honored to be in the magic category.
Mm. And your hair is really long in your like other self, by the way.
Oh yeah, I just got it cut. It's
I
getting
have to cut
hard to
my hair so
manage.
bad. It's out of
Yeah,
control.
it's getting hard to manage with my.
Okay, so you're cataloging your life. You have a definition of femininity and strength from your mother. You have definitions of like what your life was and your social standing, which like really like affected you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you've also started writing about physical imperfection, I'm going to say
Oh,
chronic illness.
chronic illness. Yeah. When I was diagnosed with Parkinson's 2 years ago, and that was fun. That was fun. That's always fun to get that diagnosis. Like, yeah, now you have something completely incurable that's like a slow train that's going to hit you eventually. Um, and that really made me take stock of what I needed to say,
Mm.
what remains to be said. That sounds dramatic. It's like
Be
like
dramatic.
my
You're a
death
writer.
is like my death is imminent. It's not. You don't get to go out that way with Parkinson's. You just you just rust over a long period of time. But it did make me feel particularly vulnerable in the world in a way that I never had before. Um, and that made me realize that many, many other millions of people also feel vulnerable. And exploring that vulnerability together is my current interest, and maybe
Mm.
my perpetual interest now, maybe my last interest,
Not your
exploring.
last.
Well, I mean, yeah, in some ways my last. Like, in what ways can we connect through our vulnerability? Maybe I've always been exploring this, but not as consciously as I am now.
Hmm.
I mean,
Have the
I'm really
horses treated
interested
you
in it.
different? Has your like
They're just
have the
always,
animals
no,
known?
I don't think they treat me differently. I don't, they're, so, okay, couple things to say about that. As you were saying, people in podcast land might not know their horses are a huge part of my life. I've ridden since I was 5 years old, and I've organized my life around horses and continue to. And now, I used to be, when I was a kid, I rode, I did barrel racing, I did
I love that.
competitive endurance riding. I've done, and then I got into dressage when, in my midlife, la la la. I've tried everything. Now I just do trail riding on these big draft horses. It's not, particularly dangerous or fast or anything, but yeah, I mean, what can I say? Have they changed? Has my relationship to horses changed, or have they changed toward me? I don't think so. I've always been my most vulnerable around horses. I've always
Mm,
been most truly myself with a horse. Does that make sense?
totally.
Yeah, there's no act. There's no persona. There's
Well,
nothing
you're in
but
the moment.
self. Yeah, there's nothing but self connecting to this other soul.
And when you
Um,
say a draft horse, all I see is their ginormous back end. Because
they're
I've been behind them.
ginormous.
They're like
Yeah, they're just ginormous. It's funny. I started writing, so I don't know whether this is at all of interest to anybody else other than horse people, but about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, my gelding died. And we had a Mustang mare who was older, and she was lonely without him. So we retired her to pasture. So for the first time in my life, since I was in college at least, I had no horse. And through a amazing series of events, I meet a neighbor who becomes one of my closest friends now. And she has two draft horses. She has one butt and two horses. She has a husband who doesn't ride. He loves horses, but he doesn't ride. So she said, "Do you want to ride these drafts with me?" And I thought, draft horses, it's like riding a plow horse, right? How exciting can it be? Oh my God, Holly, if you've never been on a draft horse, it's like, how can I it's like the new trucks. Like, they're huge, and they've got a massive engine, and they're also really plush. They're power steering, power brakes, lots of get up and go. If you just press the gas pedal, they've got the same acceleration as any other car, but just a lot more power. That's what a draft horse is like. I am just madly in love with draft horses now. And they're incredibly patient.
Ooh.
Like this is boring for anybody who's not into horses, but um, quarter horse or a thoroughbred, a hot horse like a thoroughbred or an Arabian will spook at something, become scared by something, and then they perseverate on that for the entire ride. Oh my God! Oh my God! Is that bird going to come out again? Oh my God! Oh my God! Right? Draft horse will spook for a minute and be like, dude, that was weird. Anyway,
Can I eat
that's a
this leaf
draft horse.
now? Thanks, I'm good.
Yeah. Whoa, dude. All right. Anyway, never mind.
No, I
As
went
we were
on a
saying.
trail ride too. When was the last one? I was in Colorado, and it was just me and my husband, and it was really narrow. We were going through a grove of aspens, and my horse was pretty chill. Obviously any horse that deals with strangers all the time is pretty chill. And then suddenly all our horses kind of stop, and I forget her name, but the woman in charge, Mama Bear and her cubs were in front of us.
Oh, wow.
I was like, why the fuck am I on a horse in the middle of the woods? Like this thing. And we backed up. Like I turned around on a horse, and the trail really was not really much wider than my head. It was very narrow. We were up
It
a
did a
mountain.
pivot. Yeah, pivot.
I was like, oh my, I fucking didn't fall. I'm like, I'm not, all right, you can't panic. You can't panic, Holly. Just turn the fuck and like go. We both pull around, and then they call someone else to scare the bear. And I'm like, can we just go where we know there's no bear cubs? Like what? 40 minutes later, they scare the bear, and we can you not, I can't believe I did this. And we ride past her, and she's up in a tree. And I'm like,
Oh.
And I saw how scared she was in her eyes. But you can't mess with I think it was a black bear, right? You can't mess with them. But I remember those eyes, and that I'm on the horse. And I'm like, I kind of always define myself as I'm much more of a city girl than not, right? Like I grew up pretty rural on Long Island, like way out though, like where people don't ever talk about that they live. It's either the Hamptons or like Manhattan. I was like in no man's land between. I grew up near a mental hospital. And then so that's like a whole, I have never even mind that, so many stories there. But, and then when I got to LA, for me, it was like, oh my God, I'm not the weirdo. I'm so normal here.
Yeah,
I'm so mid.
It is the land of weirdos. It is the clarion call that Southern California has for all weirdos.
So please go. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But now I'm in North Carolina, and my husband really likes space. And across, like where my house is, used to be the field where the horses from across the street used to come and just meander. So when I first moved here, a woman would ride her big old white horse down. I have all these pictures of her just walking by me. And I woke up to the sound of a donkey, because they had two horses that were older, and their companion was a donkey.
Yeah, we have a donkey.
So see, I think about you all the time, and you just don't even know it, because I can't think horse, right? It's the association. And you, right? Like your whole book about, wait, let's pull that up. Not by accident. I mean, you had a massive accident.
I did. It's a long time ago now. But just for the folks, this is more than 20 years, 25 years ago, 27 years ago, a long time ago.
Do you have to go that far, or just round?
It's a long time before I needed Botox. I was in a canyon in Malibu on my beloved horse, who was an off the track thoroughbred, and we came to a stream, and he was freaked out. And this is a bad move. You never do this, but I've been riding all my life, so I don't think the rules apply to me. So I got off my horse to lead him across the stream. This is just not what you should do ever. It's always safer to stay on than get off and walk. And sure enough, halfway through the little stream, I make a movement that spooks him, and he rears back and lunges forward, and he lands on top of me. And he had been shod, meaning he has new metal shoes on his hooves. He'd been shod the day before, and that rear hoof came straight through my shin and essentially severed my leg, except for part of my calf muscle and some other flesh. Anyway, long story short, they eventually put my leg back on. I got back on the horse happily ever after. It's fine. But yeah, it was a life-changing accident.
It was, do you have a sexy scar?
Oh, it's so sexy. Not so sexy. It's a massive scar, yes. Don't you? Have I never showed you that scar?
It doesn't stick.
Oh yeah, there's a big indentation in my leg. I mean, two big indentations. I would show you, but I can't get my leg up there.
You're good.
But
See, maybe I
yeah,
just don't see. I see it as gold.
there you go. Oh,
You're like,
Holly, you're just magic. You're
you're
just
so sweet.
magic.
Okay, so I have a mug that I also keep on my desk nowadays, and it says, "Do not annoy the writer. She may put you in a book and kill you."
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite. I also, as an essayist, I have several essays because friendships have always been particularly particular for me, and a lot of betrayal in them. And I have this
Interesting.
one essay about someone who did that, and I'm like, I don't know where I don't know where I want to put it. So like, it's just kind of there as work. But one of the beautiful things about memoir is you get to condense time, and you can take a character and make it more than one person, right?
I don't do that.
Oh, I was going to ask you
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I don't do that. I mean, some people do, but I think that's a move into fiction, and I understand why some people do it. And I think if you're transparent about it, that can work. There are all sorts of legal reasons you might want to do that. But for me, it comes from my journalism background. Like to me, that's a move into fiction. That's a move into the question of what if. That is not what a memoirist does. It's like it's not what if. It's what did I make this? Here are the facts. What did I make this mean? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah, that's the school that I adhere to.
I was going to say, it was like in a memoir, like, because, in an essay, I can get as emotional as I want and then edit it, out so it's palatable. But like that process can be quite satisfying. Like I have a memory of meeting this person, and I have a distinct image of a tattoo on them, like this giant floral arm piece, and it doesn't exist.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. I mean, that happens all the time. Memory, I mean, I always tell my students, memoir is the story your memory tells you. And you go with that. You do your due diligence to find out what was true. And sometimes you find things that are not true, that your brain, when I say true, I mean, everything is emotionally true in your writing, but objectively factual, right? Sometimes you run into things that you thought were objective facts that your brain just, it's simple things like that tattoo you just talked about, but the trailer park where I lived as a kid, I have this memory of a deciduous tree next to the trailer. That tree doesn't exist, but that tree exists in my, I actually have memories of looking out and seeing the tree. How can that be? It didn't exist.
I have memories of climbing a giant rock in this house that I grew up in. And I remember traveling back home and going by my old neighborhood because I was like, what does this house actually look like now? Like, what are my memories? Because I could tell you the green carpet, right? The shag rug, and like I can tell you what the brick looked like, and like all of those little things. And the rock is not big.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, it was like this giant
mad. Right. The memory of childhood. Since you've got me on this topic, this is just a fascinating topic that comes up for everybody when we're writing about our own life. So I have this foundational memory from my childhood. I was like 3. My cousin, my mom's cousin, comes home from Vietnam. He's in his uniform. He's incredibly handsome. His name's Johnny. He brings me a green dress. I look terrible in green, by the way, but he brings me a green dress. And to be nice, they dress me up in the dress. And then Johnny takes me in his blue Mustang convertible over to my uncle's house, his father's house. And in that ride, I see Johnny driving this Mustang convertible. The radio, you remember the old time radios where you had the knobs, and he's tuning the radio.
The old
Creedence Clearwater Revival. Creedence Clearwater Revival comes on. It's Run Through the Jungle. Of course it is. And This memory, Holly, explains everything about my aesthetic, about the men that I chose, about the music that I like. This is a foundational memory. So this may be 15 years ago or something. I've gone my whole life with this memory, most of my adult life with this memory. I'm talking to another cousin of mine, and I tell him about this memory. He goes, "Oh yeah, no, that never happened." Yeah, that Mustang was your cousin Sheila's Mustang, and she didn't get that until 1970 or whatever. And yeah, John did come home from Vietnam and whatever. Anyway, he took the pieces apart. Somehow I had conflated them into one memory. And that one memory was so vivid and so true. So the question is, do you write the memory the way you remember it? Which I have before, but now for me, now that I know that I had done that, is why did I do that? What are the elements of that memory? Why did I need, I guess the question is, why did I need that story? And that's a more interesting question for me to explore.
You're pulling the threads of it now. You're telling the story of the story.
Exactly.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Is there a story that you've been avoiding writing that you know you'll write?
That I've been consciously avoiding writing? No, because I try to write into everything as I'm experiencing it, so I understand it for myself. That's the hat trick of writing for me. I'd never say I can't tell this story now because I don't have enough perspective on it. I will eventually have perspective on it. That will be another story. That will be something different. But for right now, I'm writing into the moment. I mean, I guess I don't. I haven't written about my marriage.
I won't.
I mean, part of that is
I don't put my family on social media. I won't, like, that is the one I have, like, privacy.
Privacy. Well, that's the thing. It's like the privacy and the intimacy of your current relationship.
I don't want to monetize my love.
Yeah, it's
like that, right? Like, I have, like, for me, I have many essays that I publish. I've gotten some crazy comments on them too, but some essays like about, we'll just call them daddy issues, right? So alcoholic father, what do you deal? Gets his sobriety. Is he really sober? Living, like, having the life of a dry drunk, all of the things, right? Like all of the millions of stories, how his fingerprints have smudged shit in my life, right? And I don't know my thread yet. I don't know how I want to tell that story or why I want to tell it so much. It's not, I know it's not about forgiveness. I think it's going to ultimately end up being about, like, I loved you despite it. And you were still a mean motherfucker, right? Like, something is there, but it's not quite. Like, I have all these little bits. I'm looking behind the screen because I literally have a green folder with like 10 chapters, just all in disarray of, like, I don't know how to organize that yet because it's still annoying. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I know that very well. And you won't know. I mean, I don't think you can. You can't, and you wouldn't want to try to plot that out. The only way you're going to have any resolution is to keep writing into it, and it's going to change its shape. Yeah, I mean, sorry, the solution is just in the writing itself. This is why I was going
to rejoin your group. You have, like, an online group. I was like, well, maybe if I answer to you, I would actually.
I mean, that's what it's for. That's what it's for. And I try, as you might remember in my workshops, I try not to prescribe solutions. And that works for some. Listen, some writing teachers are really fantastic, and they're, able to prescribe action for writers. Put a car chase in act 2 and that will, but for some people that does work. It's never worked for me as either a writer or a teacher. I believe that we can't know what's inside other people, what possibilities exist inside each writer for their own story. What we can do that is most helpful is reflect to them what's catching our attention and where we have questions, what is pulling us out of the experience, and then it's on the writer to figure out what they want to say, given that information. And oftentimes that information is quite a surprise because we think we're writing one thing and then what's
Yeah.
actually appearing on the page is something else entirely.
I love that. I think when I did my TEDx talk, I wrote it and I was so proud of what I had written because it wasn't what I pitched. And I wrote this other thing. I sent it to my critique partner. I'm like, what do you think? She's like, oh my gosh. And she's been reading my work for over 10 years, right? So she's seen all sorts of whatever. She's like, literally the best thing you've ever written. Submitted it to TEDx. And she's like, this is a great book, but this is a big zero as a talk, basically, is what she told me. I was like, I pouted for days. I was like, I felt it was like the best thing I ever written. I was like, well, maybe that's what my memoir will be. Like that, my daddy issues memoir that I still think I'm going to eventually write. Not quite yet. But you had mentioned before we started recording when we were just chatting on email, like about the concept of when do you walk away from a piece?
Oh, yeah.
What's that
Yeah.
about?
Well,
Why would you do that?
Well, I don't think about it as walking away from it as much as allowing it to be in a different form. Like, okay, I'll give you the concrete thing we were talking about. I have been working on a memoir literally for 20 years. The same material, which is the foundational material of how I grew up. Three women, my mother, my grandmother, myself, right? In a trailer in rural New Mexico. And what happens? Like, how did they get there? What happens? It began as a book of reportage about the unmobile class of people who live in mobile homes and the stigma of trailer trash and where that comes from. So I did a ton of research. I can tell you about all HUD regulations on, mobile homes. I can tell you a lot of information. So it was going to be weaving that nonfiction narrative about America's mobile home situation in with my own personal experience. And long story short, it's been many different things. People didn't like that. They wanted the personal story. Then the personal story was too personal. They wanted more. Anyway, it's been out to, I think, 5 different times in various forms. I've written on this subject. It's been my obsession for most of my life to write on this subject. But it just doesn't work as a book. I haven't, let me just say, I haven't been able to make it work as a book in its current form. So what I did was I decided time is ticking. I want to get this stuff out. So I'm going to essentially eviscerate the material and form essays from the material. So
Are you
I've
gonna
actually
Substack it or?
That's an interesting question. I don't think so. I think there are lots of, maybe too many, voices on Substack. There are lots of really great voices on Substack. I don't know that I need to join them. I don't know that I have the wherewithal to manage and be my own media
Yeah, I get that.
producer.
I get that.
So I've been publishing a different, but that said, I used to have a column in Medium that if I had an idea for something, I just throw it up on Medium, and that was satisfying. I enjoyed that.
Recently,
But
I wrote something that I really loved. So I wrote a lot of the stuff about being a mom when my daughter was younger. I don't write about her because she's almost in the
a
world, and that's
teenager,
another, yeah,
yeah,
it's a privacy thing.
yeah,
But I also had many miscarriages. I ended up having a hysterectomy. I had a lot of like medical, like whatever. I had my life. I had some life happening, right? So I would
yeah.
write about all of that and what I thought my life would be versus what it was and whatever. And then you have a teenager as well. And they do that push you thing right now, which is what they should be doing.
Yeah.
But there was a moment in the past year where she called for me. Like I heard her like 3-year-old lispy tone of voice, right? Like that little, that lisp was so cute. And I came running, and it was because a field cricket had gotten by her shoes and scared the shit out of her, and she needed me to get it out of the house. And it was like this moment of her being so young. And my daughter is like your height. She's much taller than me, and It's just funny that she needed her mommy then. So I wrote an
Yeah.
essay about that, and I was like, oh my God, I loved it. And I'm so hard. I'm so hard on myself. I don't, whatever. And I got a beautiful rejections, and the same theme was, it was too happy. It was too sweet. And I couldn't find a home because people are still looking for more clickbaity headline kind of moment. So I don't know where that one's going to end up, but I still love it because it's such a sweet thing to have that moment of memory going back and forth, which is again why I love memoir. And I've started to devour it again. That beautiful play on exactly what you said of how you remember something versus the maybe truth or reality for other people. And like,
Right.
it's in that beautiful like light. Like I
Space.
won't drive. And like when it first starts getting dark, my vision's not that good at this point. But something about morning light, right, is illuminating, and it's soft and warm, even no matter what the topic is. Because like again, to my right, I have things like A Three Dog Life next to me. Of course, the classic Glass Castle, or all the Call the Midwives, or A Good Dog. And this man writes about his pet in such a way that like my heart was breaking 10,000 ways, and I loved every second of it.
It's interesting. You just mentioned, sorry, were you going to say more? You just mentioned Three Dog Life by Abigail Thomas. I had the incredible pleasure of interviewing her last year. She's a goddess and an icon, and she has a Substack, and she puts things up on a regular basis. So even though I'm not doing Substack, I think that's a very viable form for people's belles lettres. You know, let's call it a belle lettre rather than an essay. You know, just those ephemeral moments of insight. And
they're so pretty. I have notes on them. I met someone. We were on a whitewater trip, and we were mining for gems, as you do in North Carolina after you go whitewater rafting.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a thing. I mean, we're in the Appalachians, and there is this person's name. I hope I can say his name. I guess Andy, you'll have to tell me. But I wrote it down. His name was Enoch Frederick. And if that wasn't the most perfect name I've ever heard in my life, I was like, I don't know who is going to have that name, or how that character is going to show up somewhere.
You know, right now, Barbara Kingsolver is kicking herself that she didn't have that name in Demon Copperhead. Right. That is a total, that is an incredible name. Yeah.
He was cowboy, mountain boy, like he was maybe 20, he was very young, and sweet as pie, and with the mams, but good church boy, like all the things that part of the world that I think a lot of people have opinions of or might judge, but until you're around it and actually know how salt of the earth and amazing they are, you're missing out, right? Like go out. I think that's part of why I like being a stranger in a strange land. I like being places I probably have no business being, and I eat that up. I eat that up. So anyway, okay. So what are you working on now? And then we'll have to give you my final question. But I want to know what you're working on now, so that I can email you and be like, what about that?
Yeah, what about that? Actually, I'm working on another essay from that material about having a shotgun pulled on me. Yeah. That's what happens in the West. Things like that happen.
I get that.
Everything turned out okay, but that's the incident.
I can hear the click. That's the crazy thing.
It's so funny that you say that. I was just telling Ben, my son, about that incident. And that's what the click of the shotgun.
Was it one of these? Was it like a
yes, it's
click?
one of these. And I felt, all the blood leave my body at that sound. And
there's even a sound when you grab a shotgun.
It was just, well, it's a long story.
Okay,
and then he was like, "Oh, sorry, Sam, I thought you were somebody else." I'm like, "Who the fuck do you think I was?" Anyway, there's a story on that. So that's the incident that is the spine of an essay.
Because even like the sound it would take even to take it out, like there's a sound. I don't know if anyone else has any experience
out of a gun rack. Out of the gun rack, you
or
mean?
shooting,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
know, again, you might not believe this, but going to a range is fun. But
Yeah, it is.
I love shooting metal. But anyway, but there's like something to the weight and heft and the smell of it. Like it's got all of the things. It's got all of your
The itch of lead. Yeah. Yeah, I grew
Oh,
up,
the
I
itch.
grew up shooting rifles with my uncle, my great uncle. Yeah, if you grow up in the West, you have a different relationship to guns
Yes,
and hunting and everything
I
else.
get that.
Anyway, and so
Okay,
what else am I? That's my
okay.
personal thing, and then I have a metric ton of work that I'm doing at any given moment.
I love that. I love that
Yeah.
there is a way to make a life. Like all I keep thinking about, and I'm going to throw this out there, and you can just tell me to stuff rocks if you don't like it. I want to like, I want to put like a princess crown on top of that trailer you grew up in your memory.
Oh.
Right, because how you see it and how I see it as like this root integral part of who you are in
Mhm.
defining woman, right? Your mom was strong.
Yes. Iron.
So like
My
I don't
grandmother
know the
too, in a
difference
different
with
way.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they
you're
were.
strong too.
Yeah, 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 I am. Yeah.
No, see, I want to like unpack all of that, but that would be like another hour and a half. So, but I want like so I want to put a crown on it because I wonder like you wouldn't be you, right, if you didn't have all that, which
Oh,
is like a
totally.
dumb thing to say, but like I'm so like if we stuck you in a middle class like suburban, you'd be so bored.
Yeah, completely. Completely. And frankly, a trailer is where I'll end up. I mean, that's the affordability option for retirees with my level of savings. And you know what? People think that I'm being defeatist when I say that. I'm actually
I've been in
it
some. They're really nice, by
they're
the way.
really nice. What
They're
are
really
people
nice.
talking about? It's like I can't wait for our trailer, our manufactured housing.
Look, there's a lot of them here, and there's a
Our
lot of them in the
manufactured, I
mountains.
can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
When that the part of the horror of the hurricane that came through last year, it's like communities gone, and those were the
Gone.
homes, and they had been
Of
there
course.
forever.
Yeah, of
So
course.
heartbreaking. No,
Well,
my
I'm
cousin lived one in Arkansas, and I stepped inside. I was like, "This thing is so huge!
um
Like it was huge."
my mom it's yeah, people who've never been in manufactured housing have no idea what it's like. Anyway, I can go on and on about that,
Yeah.
but your audience doesn't want to hear that.
No, we
So,
can. But okay, so that'll be part two. So I like to end every session with the one question, which is if you came with a warning label, what would it be?
um caution makes frequent stops. Or back in the day it would have been caution, dangerous curves ahead.
You
Not so
still
much
have
anymore.
those. Yes, you
I have
do.
them.
You are. You're curvy. It's all you own it.
I
It's just
am.
who
I
you
am.
are. You
I'm
can't deny
curvy.
it. I'm
I'm
taking that
curvy.
back. You're
I'm
still
curvy.
spicy and curvy and fiery
I'm
and
Thank you, darling.
delicious.
Thank you,
I
darling.
like that word.
Likewise.
Someone once called me delicious. I was like, what'd you just say? That's
What?
great.
Oh, yes. You are delicious, actually. And
Thank
you, unlike myself, you look great in green, which is a
Thank you.
talent.
It's your heart chakra. I was wearing a black t-shirt that said "You matter" on it, and like before I started, like my woo-woo energy people were like, "Why are you wearing black? Take that shit off." I
Wow.
was like, "Oh, okay, fine.
Oh, interesting.
Thank you." Yeah,
Interesting.
someone once told
Okay.
me to wear green. I spent like $4,000 on a class. I thought she was going to teach me something that I didn't know, and she's like, "Green looks good on you." I was like, "Oh,
4,000. Wait.
that's a whole other episode. We'll do that some other time.
I was
Maybe
going to
that'll
say,
be
I
more
just gave
fun."
you that for free. I
I
just gave you that
know.
validation for
I know.
free. Oh my
Crazy.
God. Anyway.
See, when you're looking for
Okay.
something, you'll sometimes find it. You'll find it, but not with the right people, which is why I think messages for like people who work with healers of any kind, some people are great, some people are full of shit. But even in storytelling, right, there is a time and a place for how certain people tell story, and you might not always love it or whatever, but explore. Go be around smart people, read Sam's work.
Go
Oh,
be
and if they
around.
want to work with you, I want to tell everyone like
Oh, wait. Let me
where
just
they should
say,
find you.
not only smart, but be around people. people
Yeah.
that you might not consider smart, and watch them open up, watch them open your heart.
Yes.
Just be around people. They'll surprise you.
And not people who agree with you, please. Be around people who maybe be a stranger in a strange land. Welcome to
Be
my
a
world.
stranger in a strange land, always. Yeah. And anyway, so honey, what was the other question?
I want to know, like, what do you have? So this will be coming out in probably September, October. Is there anything you want them to tune into then?
I always want people to tune into our monthly bookish program. It's on the third Friday of every month. It's free. It's for everybody. Conversations with great authors about interesting books. And then, I've got my own private workshop. And then you can always find me through, I'm through the interwebs for that private workshop if you just need some structure for your own ongoing process. And you can also find me through Pam Houston's literary nonprofit, Writing by Writers, where I also teach.
I love that.
Yeah, you got to get Pam on.
Message from your old friend here is that you now need to do spoken word or an essay doing dressage. Like how do I make AI? Anyone who's listening who could do AI, I want someone to make that and put it in the comments. Please.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that would be so cool.
Exactly. AI, that's a whole other conversation. Anyway, I gotta get to work,
Okay,
girl.
you have to go. So everyone, thank you for listening to the Holly Hughes Podcast. I will see you soon, and until then, we'll be creative.
Yay.